Right. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Jamie. That was fantastic. I would just add quickly that a quick thought I had just to continue that. Super yachts for me are portals for the redistribution of wealth, and that is something that the media would do well to remember. This session is called very simply "Owning the Narrative." We're looking at managing owners' expectations, smoothing the process, and importantly, when to say no. Is it our job to shape the owner's narrative or simply to execute it? I'm going to start looking at common misconceptions and ask the panel, what is the most common misconception for first-time owners about yacht ownership? And while you think about that, I'll just jump in and say that for me, it's about owners not understanding the very simple and obvious to everyone in this room, I hope, the fact that super yachts are not merely assets, they are communities of seafarers, first and foremost, is the first point. The second point I would say, second misconception, is that owners make the assumption that simply because they are paying out enormous sums of money, that they will receive loyalty and transparency, when often they don't. So, who'd like to jump in?
Right, how to start? New owners' misconceptions, probably the biggest one is the yacht is going to pay for itself. And that's partly because we tell them that. Or some of us do. So that's probably the first misconception. I think the second one is they don't understand the true cost of ownership, the true cost of being a yacht owner through the entire life cycle, be that from a new build or, an existing yacht. So I think that would be my two.
Well, for me, it's a bit difficult question because most people that come to us have already lost their virginity, so to speak. They've had a boat before, and
Sure.
They're a lot less blue-eyed than you would think.
Reda.
Well, in my case, what I can witness as a service provider for the industry is sometimes the owner thinks he's buying an asset or a pleasure asset and then realizes down the road that he's actually buying a floating operating company with crew, management, obligation, compliance, insurance, and whatnot.
Leading on from that, in terms of transparency, is there ever a situation where too much transparency can damage the relationship?
I'll start with that one. It's going to be easy for us. We're regulated. We are a financial institution before anything else, so transparency is the key. That's how you build the trust. So there's nothing to hide on our end. Numbers don't lie. That's why we've built a platform specifically to give transparency to the owners or the yacht managers. So we are full for transparency. There's no compromise in that end.
And in your own experience, you've been an owner?
Yes.
Were there any particular instances when you thought some transparency would have been helpful?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, at the time, I think I was quite incompetent to be an owner. So you navigate. You think you're buying a pleasure asset, and then you realize you're being hit with whether it's on the expense side or the compliance side, or I just want to take my yacht and go around here. Well, no, there's a lot of things to be achieved. So times have changed. I think the owners currently are more educated. I think the yacht management companies are doing that effort of educating the owners, the law firms, the gatekeepers are doing so very well these days.
And Michael, if I can ask you about transparency. Too much, too little, about right?
I think you have to do it just about right, because if you're not transparent where it is important, you'll be caught out in the end, and you look very stupid, so that makes no sense.
Sure. And from a management perspective, Kevin?
You can't have enough. We want total transparency, top to bottom. Our job as managers, has been a lot said this morning about crew, and quite rightly too. but our job as managers is to look after the owner, to protect the owner. So no, you cannot have too much transparency.
Sure, sure. I think I would just say from a lawyer's perspective, all too often I am brought in too late because there hasn't been enough transparency, because expectations have not been managed. I deal in paperwork. I am not in the paperwork business. I am in the expectation management business. I'm in the relationship management business. It's as simple as that. The devil's in the detail, and obviously it gets very complicated. But when I write I redraft a refit agreement, for example, I want something that I've spent time turning from legalese into plain English. I'd like to go out into the street, find a taxi driver, hand him a copy of the refit agreement, and say, broadly speaking, do you understand what is going to happen in this agreement? Because sometimes the owners, they don't have the technical expertise. They are at that level of, I hate to say naivety, but they are busy. They are barracudas in their other businesses. They are not when it comes to yachts. So if I can take a refit agreement, turn it from legalese into plain English, and have a document that can be printed out and pinned up next to the Gantt chart, redacted if necessary, but everyone knows, everyone is familiar with it, and it's not a weapon to be placed in a drawer and brought out again and used to hit each other over the head when there is a misunderstanding, because there shouldn't be any misunderstandings. So moving on from that, what is the hardest no that you've had to deliver, or actually in your case, what is the hardest no that you've received, having as an owner made a request?
The crew is not ready, or simply undercrewed because somebody has left the yacht, and you want to operate, you want to entertain your guest, and you find yourself in a situation where you simply can't. So yeah, it's always tough to swallow, but it's a different reality that we have to abide to.
In terms of training, not numbers, or both?
It was in terms of numbers on that one.
Michael, what's the hardest no you've had to give an owner?
The hardest no is when you have to disappoint somebody because you simply cannot do what they want, or you cannot have it in time for when they want. As you heard earlier, we're pretty busy and we're disappointing a lot of people that it takes a long time to build. That is a very tough no.
Sure. Can you think of any particular examples of designs that you've been asked to produce that you've just had to say that's not going to work?
It happens sometimes, but we'd like to say we like to do everything that will do anything, as long as it's not illegal or dangerous. And so far, we've done well with that.
Good, thank you, Kevin.
Michael's just stolen my answer, because it's whether it's legal or whether it's dangerous, or rather illegal or dangerous. Not all clients, but some clients run pretty much to the edge of legality in their lifestyle, and that's when we as managers sometimes have to tell them to slow down a little bit and take a breath.
Have you seen any situations where saying yes in the short term has actually caused far greater damage in the long term?
Try to avoid that as much as I can.
Sure. Kevin?
I've seen it. Generally, when we've been brought in after somebody said yes when they should have said no. So a little bit like you, Benjamin, sometimes we get involved too late. The promise has already been made. The client is already feeling let down. And it is that relationship management and trying to recover the situation. We do want to say yes as an industry. We do want to say yes. And generally we do say yes, and most of the time we get it right. But when we get it wrong, we get it spectacularly wrong. And yes, I've got instances, but no, I'm not going to give them here.
Well, continuing, Kevin, where is the line between respecting the principal's authority and exercising your own professional duty of care?
Great question. As you know, and a few of you here will know, I'm a bit of a project management evangelist. I'm also relatively new to the industry. I've only been here since 2004, so I'm still learning. I was initially shocked by the lack of professionalism, and that brought compromise to me as a professional. I'm pleased to say that has improved 100-fold in the 20 so years I've been in the industry, and it continues to improve. But I think we all have to know our own personal boundaries, know where we're prepared to go, and be prepared to say no and to stand on your own principles, which is very difficult when you're in a very unequal situation, whether it be on wealth or status or whatever. But if you want to build a reputation for being trustworthy, it's important to have your own principles. And I think also to have that as a business. I mean, Lurssen is a classic example of a shipbuilder with really strong principles. And we see that in the product they produce.
Sure. Does the industry sufficiently protect captains and managers who make unpopular but correct decisions?
Do you want me to have a go at that?
Go for it. Go for it, Kevin.
Do we protect? Somebody said earlier, I can't remember who it was, that the captain's loyalty goes to the owner, and that's absolutely true. And as managers, we have to have probably a better relationship with the captain than we do with the ultimate beneficial owner. We're going to spend more time with the captain than we're going to spend with the UBO. I can only speak about what we do. We will certainly support we see them as our captains. We will certainly support our captains when difficult decisions need to be made or questions answered. But no, that's not common. And yes, we do see captains bearing the brunt and losing their positions.
Yeah, I think you have to bear in mind, is this microphone working? You have to bear in mind it's a very professional business. And I think everyone in a professional capacity understands that if you have a failure or you do something wrong, you have to own it up and suffer the consequences. And that ultimately regulates our business.
Sure.
On our end, on the financial side, it's backed by regulation and also data. So we say no much more than we say yes, because we have no choice. If there was a solution, we'd find it. And on the support, I think it is the conversation with the ultra-high net worths and with the UBOs when you can back it up with data instead of emotions. So if you're able to remove that layer and speak to them with a language that they can understand that is backed by facts, usually the emotions kind of dwindle down and you find the light.
Just to be clear, you're FCA regulated?
Yes, we are.
Does that inspire confidence in owners and managers?
Absolutely. It does. It's a differentiator from being FCA regulated on multiple fronts compared to just being a software provider.
My firm's FCA regulated and regulated by the London Stock Exchange as well, and it's that inspires hurdles, inspires confidence, but it does place significant hurdles on how you go about things. Have you witnessed crew turnover driven by unmanaged expectations?
There's a thousand reasons for crew turnover. The leadership style of the captain, the usage pattern of the vessel, the owner's expectations of the crew, whether the yacht charters, whether the yacht doesn't charter. I think it's almost like saying all owners are the same, all yachts are the same. They're not. They're all very, very different, very unique. And I think the circumstances around any given yacht will be unique. So the reason you might have high crew turnover is their crew accommodation's 20 years old and it's never been refitted and it looks 20 years old. You know, do you want to have a shower in a shower that has mold? No, of course you don't. So you'll move to another yacht, yeah? Or you have a captain who you don't feel comfortable with. Or you have an owner that you don't feel comfortable with. There's thousands of reasons. I think we should probably not concentrate on the turnover, but the retention. You know, what are the good yachts doing? You know, we monitor our crew retention. We're very fortunate. We have some yachts that have very, very low turnover, and it's a combination of factors that lead to that. So again, to answer the question, very yacht specific. Let's look at the circumstances of that yacht and what we can do to improve the situation for the crew, for the owner.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Reda, transparency, which you're bringing in. From your perspective, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Do crew welcome it or not? Do they think of it as paperwork or someone sitting on their shoulder, or do they feel relieved of some responsibility? How do you think it affects them?
It's not one size fits all. Changing behaviors is always difficult, but we digitized everything, so it removes the manual work. It removes a lot of the friction, if you want. In the end, the captains or the crew that have adopted our solution, and we're not the only one providing similar solutions, but they realize that it removes the burden of proof. It removes the difficult conversation. The family office has an access directly to the platform, the yacht management in the same fashion. So again, transparency can remove friction and serve the owner. It served the guest on board eventually. And when everybody has the same set of facts, there's no interpretation to have. So yeah, transparency is definitely an asset.
Thank you. Michael, Lurssen, obviously its reputation precedes it for owners. For crew members, why would they prefer to work on a Lurssen than any other leading brand?
I don't know if there's a preference. I think Kevin was very right to say it's the management style within a certain boat that drives a lot of the bus. The rest is we try to make sure that the facilities that we build for the owners, for the ships, for the owners, are to the latest level that is required. Most of our boats, the crews are on rotation. They have a pretty good life, bearing in mind that when they're working, they're far away from home. So it's a different life than most people are used to. But all in all, I think life's pretty good on our boats, as with our colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you. Just to wrap up, if you could each give one piece of advice to a first-time owner about owning well, what would it be?
Spend wisely. It's better to spend more, maybe even a little bit more, and get a better reward than to be cheap.
Thank you. Reda?
Build your team before building your yacht.
Sure. No, I agree with that one, absolutely. I expect Kevin is about to as well.
Take your time and listen to the advice that you're given. Fools rush in and all that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, yes. And finally, who owns the narrative of ownership? Is it the principal or the professionals around them? Kevin?
Definitely the principal. If we lose sight of that, we're out of business.
Thank you. Michael?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the entertainment business for an audience of one and his or her family, and that's it.
Sure, thank you. Reda?
Totally the owner, the UBO, and our purpose is to empower him.
Sure, no, I agree with that. An owner once called me the Minister of Fun. So I suppose makes him the Prime Minister. Right, so thank you very much. Some questions. We'll start with Ian. Thanks, Ian. Ian Petts from Martin Fiddler. What's the most ambitious owner yacht design request? For example, have owners asked for a foiling Lurssen yacht yet?
I guess that's for me. Thank you, young man. No, we have not had the request for a foiling Lurssen. And the most ambitious owner, I mean, we fulfilled most of them. And some of them we can talk about, some we can't. But I was on Octopus last summer. And that's a request from a long, long time ago. And it was quite phenomenal and quite complicated, and it's still around. So kind of like that one.
Still a very impressive yacht. Yeah. Still a very impressive yacht.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, we get inquiries for climbing walls, water slides, indoor stuff. What we haven't had yet is somebody who wants a stable. That would be cool.
It'll come. It'll be a bit of a mare. Thanks. When it comes to the management of the vessel, what do you tell the owner when it comes to finances? Is it simply just risk management?
I suppose as the manager I should answer that one. No, it's not just risk management, but risk management is a key component, of course. You know, a large yacht is a floating business. It needs capital to support that. And if it's going to deliver on the owner's expectations, that will set the level of capital that it needs. And, you know, just as the survey here is showing, you know, spend more is winning. I think Michael's point was better, spend well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Arnold. Thanks, Nick. Has anyone on the panel sacked an owner, and why did they feel they had to do it?
Yes, and
Yes.
Private reasons. Nick, I'll tell you later.
Fair enough. Michael.
Are you kidding? That's not what we do. We're the hairdresser. We do what anybody wants. We don't.
We're in the business of relationships. So in the end, if the relationship is not mutually fulfilling, we better to call it goodbye than to perpetuate something that brings friction. And in the end, everybody is a loser. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. I've certainly had to say no to quite a lot of business for various reasons recently. What can we do? What do we need to do as an industry to ensure yacht ownership remains compelling for future generations? That's a good question. Thank you.
We have to keep it fun. We have to keep it easy and accessible. I think we have to keep our ears open and listen, as we were told this morning by Laurens. We have to listen, find out what the people want, what the customers want, and build the boats that they want.
Yeah.
And then we ensure that we can transcend the generations and try to expand the pool of owners that enjoy yachting.
Yeah. I say to clients who are umming and ahhing about buying a boat, life is short, buy a yacht.
Best thing they could do in their life.
Yeah, agreed. Reda?
I would add build more marinas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then they come.
Kevin, you mentioned crew retention and looking at what the good yachts are doing. What are they?
I think we have to recognize that the critical mass of our crews are between 20 and 30 years old. So what is a 20 to 30-year-old interested in when they're at work? Yeah, they want an opportunity to develop. You know, we have a crew academy. The engagement levels are really, really high with that, surprisingly high, if you like. Their appetite to learn, their appetite to develop. I think we also need to give them recreation. You know, we can't just flog them to death for the whole med season.
Without feeding entitlement.
Sorry?
Without feeding entitlement.
Well, that's always the balance, isn't it?
Sure.
Yeah. But is entitlement, you know, if you've just done a charter for 10 days and you've stretched the legal hours of rest and work, yeah, is it not right to give some of that back?
Sure.
Yep, you know. So I think the good yachts are recognizing what young people want today. I mean, one of the simplest ones is give them a decent internet connection so that when they're in the bunk at night, they can communicate with their friends and their families. You know, you wouldn't believe how many yachts still don't do that. And with the advent of Starlink and other LEO services, it's cheap, it's easy, and it will improve your retention.
Absolutely, and managing what they post online, obviously, in their SEA.
Oh, well, that's another area altogether. I didn't think we were covering that today.
No. How do you handle and manage the owner's expectations when it comes to more exotic cruising areas that will have logistical and insurance challenges? I'll just say straight off the bat, talk to your insurance broker and make sure that your insurance broker has had a discussion with the broker and the broker's happy with it, first off. And then consider, is it practical? Are there agents in place? Have you spoken to them? Have you considered the itinerary? How practical is it in real terms? Reda?
Are your cards going to be accepted in that jurisdiction?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've seen yachts crossing the Panama Canal and going all the way to Asia and realizing, well, in Fiji currency, the cards are not accepted. Well, it took us 24 hours to correct the issue. We were a principal issuer of visa, but having the process in place to be able to adapt immediately to the needs of your end client is essential. You don't want the provisioning not to happen when you're in a remote place.
Sure, yeah. Owner-operators on the 20 to 30 metre range enjoy the unparalleled privacy, no dress code. Can we have a frank appraisal of owners' right to feel at home versus crew? Right, well, I'll just say first off, there are some legalities around that, but they can be worked around. It's that's doable. Kevin, from a management perspective, anything to add on that?
That's a very different marketplace, 20 to 30 metres. When you're talking about crew, you're probably talking about 3 people. And, I worked for a famous family who went in a single leap from a 35 metre to an 85 metre boat. And the owner's biggest concern was where was he, his guests, and his crew going to sit for dinner? Because they had been used to the crew being an extension of the family. Yeah. I think, maybe it's just me, I don't see buying a yacht as delivering privacy. Really, certainly not the larger yachts. But I think in all instances, the owner must feel at home. For us, we've been tasked with doing other things, such as, landside property management, simply because the owner enjoys the atmosphere on board the boat. He enjoys the way the boat is run. So there's opportunities in getting it right. Yeah. But we must never lose sight of what the owner wants. And we do have owners on smaller vessels that expect the same level of service as if they were on a 90-metre boat, which is difficult to deliver with 3 crew.
Yeah, thank you. With shipyard and lawyer on the panel, regards to contracts with clear language, could contracts improve making a change order process run more smoothly? Michael?
I'm not aware that it does not run smoothly. I mean, a change order is a change order. In our case, and I assume it's the case with our colleagues, it's attached to the shipbuilding agreement what the form of a change order is, what the variables are. You sit, you agree, you sign. It's. I don't know how you could make it more transparent. Yeah,
for me, it's about managing expectations, not just when the change order comes in, but actually right at the outset when we start the new build. If things change, the timescale is going to change, and it will depend on the nature of the change.
But that you have to make clear from the outset, and that's why you sit and negotiate for quite a lengthy period, the specifications and everything. You manage the expectation of what the client and the client's people are expecting to receive, and what is expected of us to deliver. And I think that's something we all do as shipbuilders today, because you want to have the fight at the beginning and not halfway through the process.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. Will AI, thanks for all these questions, by the way, this is fantastic. Will AI change the life on board from your perspective? Thanks.
Yes.
How so?
It was, I think it was Lawrence mentioned earlier, you know, we're becoming more data-driven. We're learning from other industries about condition monitoring of equipment, improved reliability, hence improved availability, which is the key, of course. And using AI to interpret that data will just smooth and speed up that process. And I think also in, you know, in our little world in yacht management, we're already making extensive use of AI tools to be faster and to be more efficient.
Yeah, thank you. Reda?
I absolutely agree. And also on smaller yachts, I think having AI will expedite processes, structure the data that can be actually accumulated from the operations of the yacht, empower the captain on board, empower the first officer and the rest of the crew. We promote these initiatives, we're working on them, trying to listen to the industry also, and our end users propose to them to be helpful, to build the technology to empower them.
Yeah, thank you. From my perspective, I'm always inundated from unpaid crew or crew that have been injured and you know, not been laid off immediately and not from their perspective treated right. And obviously now they have ChatGPT and co lawyers in their pocket. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It doesn't help to manage their expectations to how quickly and easily they can receive recompense, if at all. So yeah. Challenging question. What are the issues around comfort, safety for young female crew do you think, and how are these dealt with? Well, this is personal for me. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I hope she one day joins a yacht. I don't know how long, but I'd love her to. And I do sort of, it is a cause for concern.
Yep. I'm a father of 2 girls, so this is a personal topic as well as a professional topic. Better than ever before, and still not bloody good enough.
Sure.
Be the short answer.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, just look at the career path for young female crew. If they're in the what shall we call it, the interior team, there's no career path there. If you're on deck, there's a career path. You can go all the way to captain. If you're in the engine room, there's a career path. You can go all the way to chief engineer. There isn't a career path for girls that just work the interior. I think from a protection point of view, we're in a much better place than we've been for years. But as I say, there's still more work to do. And there's still islands out there, probably the wrong term to use at the moment, but there are still situations out there that need to be resolved.
Sure. And Reda, if young girls in particular can use your product to take a taxi home late at night, it's a good thing, isn't it?
Absolutely, and much more. But again, it's about leadership. It's about making sure that your captain is aware of what is going on under the bridge, and you know, lead by example.
Sure. Well, fantastic. Reda, Michael, Kevin, thank you all very much indeed. Thank you all for listening, and thank you for your questions.
Thank you.